I'm going to read all your comments. I get that you became aware of the extent of human trafficking due to your work while Trump was in office. I don't get why you think he alone attempted to solve it. It's like if you tried cake for the first time while Trump was in office after seeing him eat a piece. You liked it, so now you attribute the invention of cake to Trump. And then you went on to show human trafficking has been a major concern since before 2000. Yeah, but you're not understanding. It's not like, oh, I took care of a couple of trafficked women when Trump was in office. The safe house in my county was directly tied to funding from him and from his executive orders. The Secretary of Health and Human Services, in consultation with the Secretary of Housing and Urban Development, shall establish an internal working group to develop and incorporate practical strategies for state, local, and tribal governments, child welfare agencies, and faith-based and other community organizations to expand housing options for victims of human trafficking. Faith-based, okay? The director for the safe house in my county, which wasn't there before. So that's the only reason I had encountered these women. And when I sat down with the director, I still hadn't realized that this was all because of Trump. So it's not like I was just eating cake, okay? I'm not an idiot. But then this is what I had read, and I'm like, that's why there was a safe house in my county. There wasn't before that. The $35 million in housing assistance grants for victims of human trafficking is being provided by the Office for Victims of Crime within the Justice Department's Office Justice Programs to provide housing and services to human trafficking survivors. The grants will be shared by 73 organizations in 33 states to provide anywhere from 6 to 24 months of transitional or short-term housing assistance to survivors, including to pay rent, utilities, or other related expenses, such as a security deposit. President Trump has sought to elevate human trafficking since taking office. In January, he appointed a special advisor for the issue. Yeah, he had somebody in the White House strictly just dealing with that. That was new. His daughter has also made human trafficking one of her issue areas. During a trip to Atlanta in January to visit nonprofit groups that help victims, Ivanka Trump compared trafficking to modern-day slavery and said the White House is committing to ending it. And it all was because the Trump administration awarded more than $35 million in Justice Department grants to organizations that provide safe housing for survivors of human trafficking. And sadly, once COVID hit, it made it even more important that there be these safe houses, which is why I started seeing them more and more. I only saw them because they would come from all over the United States to this safe house. They'd stay anywhere from 6 months to a year to help them transition so that they could heal and then go back to their families, because some had been decades just being sold over and over again. So if they got suicidal or had a psychotic break, the staff, they were faith-based, would bring them in, stay with them. They were the most wonderful staff I had ever seen. Stay with them, and we would try to help them. And so if they became suicidal, they had to bring them into the ER. That's how I encountered them. So it's more than just eating cake. Like, this is why I have so little hope in humanity. I really do. Because you guys, you just write me off as that, oh no, I'm just, because Trump's in office and I've been a psych nurse for 13 years, but suddenly I see at a rural hospital where I'm a psych nurse in the ER, I see this pattern that there's women that are coming from this faith-based home with these staff members that this home wasn't there before. Yet then I read that what Donald Trump was giving its grants to try to help these survivors, most especially with COVID, because many of these people that were in trafficking were stuck with their traffickers because of lockdowns. So they made even more of an attempt to make homes available to help these people. So no, it was directly tied to him. So I mean, you guys, there's some of you, you don't want to give Trump a break. It's the same thing I see. I can't stand the people that want to praise the unempathetic Elon Musk, okay? It's like the media wants to praise all these jackasses, okay? The liberals want to praise anybody but Trump because Trump could never do anything good. And it's like until people can get honest and get past their pride and say, you know what, maybe I was wrong about Trump. Maybe he was doing something more than any other president, because in my eyes he was. And yet he didn't. He rarely talked about this. And the media sure as shit didn't want to, because God forbid they should give him any credit for doing something that no more than any other president had done. Obama didn't go to work to try to set up safe houses, okay? They talked about it, they educated, and even that, no nurse in the country knew what a crisis it was. It was only when Trump came into office, and that was directly why he wanted the wall and did not want open borders, is because it leads to more trafficking. Yet he could get, if he was such an asshole, he could have got out there and bragged every day about what he was doing. He didn't. But nobody on the left, nobody on the right, no news media has ever given him the credit he deserves. Instead, everybody wants to highlight these people that are unempathetic jackasses. And in my opinion, humanity, truly, as somebody that is an empathetic person, humanity will never find its way until people want to be honest and admit, you know what, maybe we were wrong about Donald Trump, and he deserves credit in this area because he went above and beyond, him and Ivanka, to help these victims, most especially during COVID. And nobody wanted to talk about it because nobody wanted to give a damn enough about those victims or what he was doing to swallow their pride and write the truth about him. And this is then the result. You give me some comment about eating cake, okay, and that I somehow just attribute it to him. No, if Obama had been putting in safe houses or going to the extent Ivanka and Donald were, then I would have seen that in my career too. Never saw it. Yeah, human trafficking has been a major concern since before 2000. Yeah, and Donald Trump was actually doing something about it. And it was Epstein that came off the street under Trump's watch. That was one of the first things that happened when he came into office. But nobody wants to give him credit there. Well, no, that was the FBI. Yeah, but Cindy McCain said nobody was willing to do anything about it. And Trump did. But no, you want to write that off. So to me, it's like this is where society is so messed up. It's like that's the reason why AI will end up being some, technocrat over all of us, is because people can't even swallow their pride and say, you know what, I was wrong about Donald Trump. And he was doing more than any other president. And he deserves credit for that. Because women were being helped. And he didn't run around and brag about it, but damn, did no media ever give him the credit he deserved for it, because he did do more than any other president. And more than that, when Northwestern, the week of lockdown, they put in blacklisted Chinese cameras, thermal cameras. They blocked off all of the entrances, so we all had to come in one entrance for these thermal cameras to pick us up. I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. And I knew about the police state China lives under because for decades I've educated myself. It's horrible the conditions they live under. And I knew that Trump had blacklisted 7 Chinese telecom companies. So when those cameras went in, I took pictures of them, got the serial numbers. Sure enough, they went back to one of the blacklisted. They were blacklisted because of human rights abuses against the Uyghurs in China, a small Muslim population, and they were a national security risk to us. DOJ didn't care, FBI didn't care, nobody got back to me. But you know who did get back to me? The White House.